Hi friends, I'm Lucia Subin. I'm a developer advocate and I'm here from Google Cloud Next.
And my name's Jack Weatherspoon. I'm a developer advocate for dev tools for Google Cloud, and I'm joined with Lucia. And you might have seen us yesterday in the developer keynote. We're here to kind of recap some of the magic that we showed in our session. So Lucia, why don't you give us a little bit of an intro?
Absolutely. So yesterday, if you want to watch the keynote, of course you can replay it. We took demo 3, that is how we add memory to our agents. And this is very important because the more context an agent has, the more accurate it's going to be. We added different types of context. We added context through memory bank and sessions, which Jack is going to talk about. And we also added context through databases and RAG. So Jack, why don't you tell us more about sessions?
Yes, so Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform has agent sessions and agent memory bank. We showed both. They're very, very easy to set up and configure, less than 20 lines of code. And sessions automatically saves all of your ADK sessions to the cloud. So if you want to restart a session later on or save things to state, so for in our example, in the marathon planner, we actually saved all of the different landmarks that the current marathon route went by into our state. That way, if anything happened, if we ended the session, we can just pick up where we left off, resume that session, and everything is saved into the cloud in Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform. So that was sessions, and then we also covered memory bank, which is probably my favorite of the two. Sessions is awesome, and it really helps, but memory bank really takes your agent to the next level and levels it up. So memory bank is kind of similar to sessions. It's saving memories in the cloud. But what it does is every time you have a turn with the agent, so when you send a request and you get a response back, memory bank actually will automatically save that turn into memory if it finds something that it thinks or deems useful. So it could be in our talk, we talked about not having camels in the races, as that's one of the rules for the city of Las Vegas. So it would actually, if that happened in one plan, it would get saved to memory, and then in future plans, it would actually be able to pull that back. And memory bank really offloads all of that work. You're not saving things in local files. Again, it's all being saved in the cloud on Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform so that it automatically does all the work for you, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely, yes. And you said it yourself, it's 20 lines of code, easy peasy. And the other part that we covered yesterday was adding RAG, or Retrieval-Augmented Generation. We used AlloyDB in this case. And I think most people who are watching this already know what RAG is, but it helps retrieving the right facts at the right time. One of the cool things that we showed yesterday is auto embeddings in AlloyDB. A lot of our databases have the auto embedding capability, and this is super useful because it takes out the load for data engineers to generate embeddings every time a new record is inserted. So basically you can continue inserting records into the database and the auto embedding will happen. You will have the embedding right away available for your RAG and for your agents to consume. The other thing that I'm actually very excited about is the Data Agent Kit that was also launched this week. This Data Agent Kit is an extension that works on VS Code, OSS Code, the Cloud Shell, and it lets you interact with most of our databases directly from VS Code. So I'm super excited about that in particular. I think you've been playing with it a little bit. And one of the things that you can try as well, if you go into our codelabs, because we did build a code lab about our demo yesterday in the keynote, is the part of the chunking of all of these rules that we had. As Jack was saying, the city of Las Vegas doesn't allow you to have a camel on public roads. So we got that from a bunch of different PDFs and doc files that we fed into our database. And that process, as most people know, is a cumbersome process if you're not doing it the right way. So you need to chunk everything in a way that you manage the context and you keep those documents in a way that they become somehow structured so that you get the embeddings for the RAG and the agents to consume in a nice way.
Yeah, super nice. And I think one thing we didn't talk about, like you said, codelabs. We've got codelabs for everything we showed in the developer keynote. We also have a developer platform that you can go to actually test the simulation, run it yourself. All the code is there that you saw in the developer keynote, which is something that we are taking to the next level this year. I believe we have over 75 different code labs that you can run throughout things you've seen on the show floor, the keynotes, which is really awesome. So like, this is not something that we are hiding. It is something that you can go and actually experiment with yourself today, which is really, really cool.
And it also shows that it's real, right? Like, we put in the work, we actually made this work. There is a repository on our Google Cloud Platform Git repo. It's called race/condition, and you can plan your own marathon. You can deploy this yourself. There's a one-click deployment, so it should be very easy. There's some credits there that you can use to run this for a little bit and see how it actually works. All of this is agentic. Every call that we have for planning the marathon and everything that we showed is calling agents at scale, and it's securing them as well. So you can see this in your own projects if you want.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't actually cover too is agent skills. We had an agent skill in our part of the demo in the developer keynote, and we actually also now have another repo. We're talking a lot about code and GitHub repos, but another repo on the Google Cloud repository for skills for Google Cloud. And I believe we just launched 13 brand new skills that we have curated for different Google Cloud products that you can now install and help with your development on Google Cloud.
Absolutely, and you can extend those. I think they're also very useful to understand what a good skill looks like. Personally, I extended it yesterday for our demo, for demo 3, because we needed to have like a specific treatment of embeddings, and it was a really good template to build off of.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of recap, so what we've covered is how you can improve your agent with session state, so keeping things stateful, being able to resume a session. We added memory, so memory bank, being able to automatically save memories into the cloud to then for when you're using your agent later on, pull that in, and bringing your own data, like you said, with AlloyDB. And those three things really help improve context and memory, which we see behavior is better for agents.
Absolutely. One last thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm also very excited about, is the data engineering agent. I showed the prompt that I used that was pretty simplified, but I will be following up with a few more examples of a longer prompt that works very well. And one of the great things that the data engineering agent did for us is create all the pipelines from a data engineering perspective, and at the same time, the orchestration. And one great thing is you can tell it to create a Dataform data engineering pipeline or a DBT pipeline, which is actually new, and I think the data engineering community will be very excited about. So yeah, that's another thing that we can try out. So yes. Anything else, Jack?
I don't know. Do you want to just quickly touch on what's been your favorite part of Next so far?
My favorite part of Next so far has been mingling with everybody. I think that I get a lot of feedback and a lot of questions that are very inspiring for me to create more content and to reach out to people, understand what they're dealing with in production and building their stuff. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of just walking around the showcase floor and seeing what all these different companies are doing right now. Like, I think it's such a cool time we're in for agents, for technology, and kind of just walking around the show floor from booth to booth and seeing how all of these different companies are leveraging agents or just getting pretty inspired, like you said, from chatting with people and seeing what others are building out there.
That's right. And of course, one of my favorite parts was sharing the keynote with you.
Of course,
and doing our little fist bumps there. So if you haven't watched it, go watch the replay. And if you have watched it, go check out our repositories and our code labs.
Awesome. Thanks, Lucia.
Thank you.